Welcome. I'm Jasmine Iru with another episode of Scope. On March the 22nd of this year, the International Monetary Fund's Executive Board approved the government of Papua New Guinea's request for over 3 billion kina, that is equivalent to $918 million. Under the Extended Credit Facility and the Extended Fund Facility, the 38th month IMF-approved program for PNG seeks to protect the vulnerable and foster inclusive growth. IMF's resident representative, Sohrab Rafiq, emphasizes that the reforms will focus on strengthening debt sustainability, easing FX shortages, and enhancing governance and operationalizing the anti-corruption framework.
Hello and welcome. Stable economy for the rest of the decade.
As nations around the world struggle to emerge from the global economic crisis,
Time to encourage governments around the world to cut back on spending. IMF and the World Bank are closely linked.
Like the International Monetary Fund, helping or hindering the recovery.
Then, the IMF has taken on a bigger role fighting financial crises around the world.
The International Monetary Fund, or IMF, when mentioned, to average everyday Papua New Guineans with little to medium knowledge of the United Nations major financial agency, almost always instigates responses of negativity, scary conspiracy theories of government takeovers by technological advanced governments, or merely confused statements due to lack of proper communication or a lack of comprehension. On March 22, 2023, the IMF Executive Board approved the 38-month arrangements under the Extended Credit Facility and Extended Fund Facility for Papua New Guinea in the amount of SDR 684.3 million, equivalent to over 3 billion PNG kina. According to the IMF, the 38-month arrangement will support Papua New Guinea's reform agenda, which seeks to help protect the vulnerable and foster inclusive growth. The reforms will focus on strengthening debt sustainability, alleviating FX shortages, and enhancing governance and operationalizing the anti-corruption framework. The program has three key elements outlined on page 53 in the IMF's country report number 23 on 126. The proposed structural benchmarks that need to be achieved between March 2023 and January 2024 are budget repair, governance and operations of the Bank of PNG, and governance and anti-corruption framework.
The first is sort of ensuring that the fiscal position of the country is sustainable. So if you look at the report that has been published, you'll see that given where we are right now, that public debt in PNG is classed as high risk. So it's at high risk of debt distress. So what we would like to see is the government's efforts to consolidate the fiscal position by bringing down the fiscal deficit. That is something we would like to see continue. Now, if you sort of go back to the COVID crisis, we know it had a global impact. We know that economic growth slowed everywhere, including in PNG. So you had a fiscal deficit of 9%. The government has made great strides to bring that fiscal deficit down. It's currently at around 4.5–5%. We would like to see that brought down further. In our projections, we see the fiscal deficit falling further to 1.2%. And then sort of we're projecting, a budget balance by 2027. Labeled in the media.
IMF believes that by undertaking the corrective fiscal actions by raising government revenues and raising tax revenues, IMF hopes that the government's fiscal position can be put on a sounder footing. The IMF, together with relevant stakeholders, will be working to strengthen BPNG's financial independence and governance and improve the operation of the financial system.
Aspects to it. We would like to see a clearer mandate by the BPNG. At the moment, the BPNG has lots of different mandates. One is to do with inflation, then there's a growth mandate, there's an potentially an employment mandate. So we would like to see the mandate made clearer so people understand what it is that the BPNG is trying to do, right? And it can sort of makes it easier to hold the BPNG account to its mandate.
IMF's resident representative highlighted some governance issues within BPNG.
There are issues with some of the governance of the BPNG. We would like to see the BPNG board have an oversight role on monetary policy. At the moment, if you read the staff report that was published, you'll see that one concern we do have is that the BPNG board currently, it sets monetary policy, and then it also acts as a sort of an arbiter. So it's judge and juror, right? Whereas the sort of international best practice tells you should have a monetary policy committee that sets monetary policy, and then it's the board whose role it is to perform oversight on how well the monetary policy committee is performing its role. So we would like to see this sort of practice brought to the BPNG. And so at the moment we see that this role is a little bit muddled.
Attempts will be made to address excess liquidity in the banking system, to improve monetary policy effectiveness and strengthen the monetary policy's transmission.
We would like to see the BPNG produce a roadmap for eventually introducing greater exchange rate flexibility. So this is not something that we expect immediately. This is not, I've seen in the media reported constantly that the IMF is asking the government of PNG to devalue the exchange rate. That is absolutely not the case. We are not calling for an exchange rate devaluation. All right? The IMF would never do anything like that. All we're asking for is that sort of the government working alongside the IMF produces a roadmap that will eventually lead to a case or lead to a situation where the kina is allowed to move around more freely and to determine its level.
The third benchmark has to do with good governance and anti-corruption framework.
If you look at economic data across a broad range of countries, countries that tend to have more governance, better governance, that tend to be more transparent, tend to grow more sustainably, they tend to be richer, the resources tend to be better managed. And it's sort of just based on that simple economic regularity that you see across countries, not just in the Asia-Pacific region, but also in the Africa region, in the Latin American region, in Europe. So good governance sort of is consistent with more sustainable economic growth and more transparent economic policy making. And transparency in economic policy making is a good thing as we see it.
When the Marape-led government approached the IMF in a letter of intent dated March 7, 2023, Prime Minister James Marape stated that, "We are confident that our policies are adequate to achieve the objectives of the program and will take any additional measures that may become appropriate for this purpose." In a statement by Robert Nicol, Executive Director for PNG, and Rhoda Kal, Advisor to the Executive Director dated March 22, 2023, states that our authorities are committed to achieving the 9 structural benchmarks and several quantitative performance criteria and indicative targets. The hope now is for the government of Papua New Guinea to remain true to its commitment of transparency, good governance, and prudent macroeconomic management.
After the break, PNG co-hosts Third Forum for India-Pacific Islands Cooperation with India, who sets ambitious targets. Papua New Guinea recently co-hosted with the Republic of India the Third Forum for India-Pacific Islands Cooperation. FIPIC was launched in November 2014 when India's Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi visited Fiji. FIPIC includes 14 island countries. These countries, relatively small in land area and distant from India, though many have large exclusive economic zones and offer promising possibilities for fruitful cooperation. On Monday, May the 22nd, a gathering of leaders of these 14 island countries and India took place at the iconic APEC House, Port Moresby.
For us to sit in this dialogue.
India has set ambitious targets on the issue of climate change. At the third forum for India-Pacific Island Cooperation, India's Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi says he is pleased that they are working rapidly towards them. Prime Minister Modi stated in his opening statement at the third FIPIC summit. Prime Minister Modi reminded Pacific Island leaders present at the summit that in 2022 he launched the mission LIFE, Lifestyle for Environment, along with the UN Secretary General. Modi encouraged the leaders to join this movement as well. Prime Minister Modi, delivering his address in Hindi, stated to the 14 leaders of the Pacific Islands, including Papua New Guinea, that India respects the priorities of the islands. It feels proud to be the development partner in humanitarian assistance and development. He assured that India is a reliable partner. Modi said India's perspective is based on human values.
This time, we are meeting today after a long gap. And during this gap, this time, the world has been going through very difficult times like COVID-19 pandemic and several other challenges. These challenges have impacted the countries of the global south the most.
Modi highlighted efforts India supports like the Convention Centre in Palau, Waste Management Project in Nauru, and Solar Light Project in Kiribati. He says all of these are based on the sentiment that India is ready to share their capabilities and experience with the Pacific Island countries without any hesitation, whether it be digital technology or space technology, whether it's health security or food security, and whether it's climate change or environmental conservation.
This year, in January, we organized the Voice of Global South Summit. Representatives from your countries took part in it, and you shared your views. And for this, I thank you. India considers it its duty to convey the concerns, expectations, and the aspirations of the global south to the entire world through the G20.
James Marape, Prime Minister of co-host country Papua New Guinea, said in the global south, the Pacific Island countries have development challenges, resources harvested in tons and volumes, and the people left behind.
You have emerged as the leader of the global south, and I want to thank you for assuring me in our own bilateral meeting this morning that you will advocate, as you host G20 this year, you will advocate on issues that relate to the global south.
PM Marape appealed to India Prime Minister Modi to offer its third big voice in the face of the global north, stating that the global north have moved in the development space into the industrialization space, and the small island nations and global south deserves a chance for issues to be heard in total clarity.
But more importantly, collectively, Mr. Prime Minister, they occupy some of the biggest spaces on the face of planet Earth. The combined space of Pacific put together, airspace and sea space, is 1/3 of the entire planet. In the planet, 1/3 is occupied by the oceans of Pacific. 1/3 is the space of Pacific. Our ocean, Mr. Prime Minister and the friend of Pacific, Prime Minister Modi, our ocean is a great carbon sink. Our ocean is a place of great trade and exchanges of trade. Our ocean and our airspace together facilitate trade, commerce, movement of people on planet Earth.
Prime Minister Marape told Prime Minister Modi that India needs to be a strong voice and advocate for the challenges faced by the island countries to advanced economies on matters relating to economy, commerce, trade and geopolitics.
Second issue, Mr. Prime Minister, the threats of global politics and insecurity. For instance, the issue of Ukraine war with Russia, or Russia war with Ukraine rather. We import the inflation to our own small economies. These nations sitting before you, Mr. Prime Minister, have high cost of fuel and power tariff in their own countries. And we suffer as a result of big nations at play in terms of geopolitics and the power struggles out there. We ask you, using this moment where I am co-chairing, and I speak for my small brother and sister nations of the Pacific. Whilst our land may be small and number may be small, our area and space in Pacific is big. The world uses it for trade, commerce, and movement. We are victims of global power play. We want you to be an advocate for us as you sit in those meetings and continue to fight for the rights of small emerging nations and emerging economies.
When we come back, Dame Carol Kidu recognized by the Queensland government for her outstanding work in championing human rights, community development, and international relations. In the heart of Papua New Guinea, a remarkable woman has dedicated her life to championing human rights, community development, and international relations. Her name is Dame Carol Kidu, a trailblazer whose tireless efforts have reshaped the landscape of her nation. Join us as we delve into the extraordinary achievements of this esteemed women leader.
Papua New Guinea, a land of breathtaking beauty, known for its unique culture and diverse landscapes. But behind the stunning scenery lies a society where women's voices have long been silenced. In the midst of this male-dominated environment, one woman refused to be silenced. She is Dame Carol Kidu, the voice of PNG women. Dame Carol Kidu made history during the 2007 to 2012 term of parliament as the only woman with a seat out of 109. Her progressive reputation has sparked a movement for greater women's political empowerment in PNG. But Dame Carol's achievements extend beyond her political career. Since being elected to the National Parliament in 1997, she has continuously raised major developmental issues affecting women in the country. Dame Carol's journey began when she met her husband, the late Sir Buri Kidu, in 1980. Moving to PNG and becoming a naturalized citizen, she chronicled her fairy tale story in her autobiography, A Remarkable Journey. However, tragedy struck when she became a widow in 1993. Determined to make a difference and honor her husband's memory, she embarked on a mission to create a better future for her nation.
The late Sir Cecil Abel came to the funeral, and he came and said to me, "You can't leave it there, you know, Carol, you have to follow on." I said, if the people will allow me, I'll do 3 terms, no more, because 15 years I knew I'd be coming, what age I'd be getting towards, and I didn't want to end my career in politics. I didn't want to end my working life in politics.
Despite the prevailing male dominance in national leadership, Dame Carol thrived. She maintained her seat in the national legislature and demonstrated a unique form of broad-based and consensual leadership. Dame Carol's leadership stood firm against the temptations of money and corruptive politics that plagued the halls of power in Papua New Guinea.
The Supreme Court demanded Samarai be restored to office. O'Neill refuses to go. He insists it is not a coup.
Dame Carol Kidu condemned the behavior of the leaders in their pursuit for power.
Because of her service to both her country of birth and the country she made her home, Dame Carol was chosen to be awarded and recognized.
Very honest. I was really thrilled to be honored by my country of birth. I was. It really had a very strong impact on me that my country of birth decided that I deserved an award. And so it meant a lot to me. Yeah. And as I said, really, these awards are because of the work of many, many people, not just me. I just tend to drag people together, and then I try to find a way where I can get out and make sure it's sustainable, anything I do. Some things have remained sustainable, like Guinea Goada. Some things have fallen apart. The Heart Institute exists because of Professor Sir E.C. Keval, But I get the accolades and the awards. But it's those people that make it happen. Yeah. So I'm very honoured, but I also get very humbled if I receive an award. And I will be honest, getting it from my country of birth did mean a lot to me. Because I am a gum tree in the final outcome. I don't try to deny my roots. But I hope this gum tree has got a lot of nice orchids growing on it from my country of choice.
In recognition of her distinguished services to human rights, community development, and international relations, she was honoured as an Officer of the Order of Australia.
I'm delighted to be able to host today's investiture ceremony in honour of those very, very special Queenslanders, although some may call other lands home now, but were born here, who've been recognised under our Australian Honours and Awards system. Each one of you can be very proud that the contribution you've made has been identified by your peers as being above and beyond what duty demands. What that means is that you can, and indeed should and must, wear the medals you've received with both gratitude and pride, because they signify the recognition and respect of your fellow Australians.
From her early days in politics, Dame Carol Kidu became the embodiment of hope and resilience for women across Papua New Guinea. As the Community Development Minister for the National Parliament, she tirelessly fought for the rights of the marginalised and underprivileged. Her unwavering dedication led to groundbreaking initiatives, including the establishment of the Parliamentary Committee on HIV and the PNG Parliamentary Group on Population and Development. Through these platforms, she advocated for crucial policies that addressed the pressing issues faced by women and children. Dame Carol's impact extended far beyond the political arena. Her involvement as a board member in numerous esteemed organizations elevated her influence on a global scale. She was honored as the Pacific Person of the Year, reflecting her exceptional leadership and commitment to the progress of the Pacific region.
Distinguished service to human rights, to community development and to international relations, as a Community Development Minister for the National Parliament of Papua New Guinea, for establishing the Parliamentary Committee on HIV and the Papua New Guinea Parliamentary Group on Population and Development, as board member on numerous boards, as Pacific Person of the Year, as a recipient of Cross of the Night in the Order of the Legion d'Honneur, the Pacific Human Rights Award, the Papua New Guinea International Woman of Courage Award, and 6 honorary doctorates, as Dame of the British Empire, and as member of numerous committees that aim to improve the health and well-being of women and children.
Her selfless dedication earned her numerous prestigious awards, including the Papua New Guinea International Woman of Courage Award. Additionally, she received 6 honorary doctorates in recognition of her significant contributions. Dame Carol Kidu's impact on Papua New Guinea's social fabric was undeniable. Her appointment as a Dame of the British Empire acknowledged her exceptional service and unwavering commitment to uplifting women and children in her nation. She played an instrumental role in shaping policies and programs aimed at improving the health and well-being of women and children in Papua New Guinea. Her membership in numerous committees showcased her dedication to effecting a positive change at both national and international levels. Dame Carol Kidu's journey is a testament to the power of one individual to drive transformational change.
Actually, I feel very privileged that my country of birth has recognized me for the work that I've done in Papua New Guinea. It's a great honor to be here for this ceremony with our consul from Cairns. And what else can I say except I feel very honored to be recognized like this.
Lady, yes, it is indeed an honor for the Australian government to recognize Lady for her contribution to Papua New Guinea and, of course, in so many ways, Australian-Papua New Guinea relations as well. So congratulations, Lady.
What we see today in Papua New Guinea and the horrific gender-based violence, GBV, and all of those things, I'm not passing on Papua New Guinea. Dia ita nakara. Dia senatau dia nakara. Okay? Noga true. So I want that to be the first message. You must be very proud Melanesians.
Through her advocacy, leadership, and unwavering commitment to human rights, community development, and international relations, she has left an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of countless people. As her legacy continues to inspire future generations, Papua New Guinea stands as a testament to the enduring power of one woman's unwavering determination.
And that's another edition of Scope. Thank you for your company. Good night.